The quiet coastal village of Portpatrick has found itself at the forefront of what could be one of the largest infrastructure projects ever attempted. That's if it goes ahead. Government officials are now examining the potential for a bridge linking Portpatrick to Larne in Northern Ireland. The idea was first touted late last year, but despite critics saying it would be a waste of time and a waste of money, Boris Johnson's official spokesperson said that it was a real piece of work and that a range of officials were already looking into it. But is it feasible, and is it worth spending billions of pounds? Robert Erskine has been the harbour master here for 4 years. He believes the money should be spent on improving the existing infrastructure.
There's a lot of money to be spent, and the roads in Stranraer are terrible. The roads from Stranraer to Fleece are terrible, so really the infrastructure would need to be built there before they think of a bridge. I originally come from the DANYANG-KUNSHAN Northern Ireland side, so it would be beneficial for me, but £20 million is an awful lot of money when our roads are bad, education's not good, and it could be spent on other things.
South of Scotland MSP Colin Smith agrees. He's written to the Prime Minister demanding they also consider upgrading several key roads.
The reality is we already have a bridge to Northern Ireland from Scotland. It's called Cairnryan Ferryport. People don't complain about the ferries to Northern Ireland. What they complain about is the appalling state of the A75 and the A77 and the lack of a rail link to that ferryport.
Measured in a straight line, the distance from Portpatrick to Larne is almost 30 miles. On the face of it, that pales in comparison to the world's longest bridge in China. The DANYANG-KUNSHAN Grand Bridge measures more than 100 miles, but only 5 of those miles actually go over water. The longest sea bridge in the world is the KONG-ZHUHAI-MACAU bridge, which measures 34 miles. So a bridge that long has been done before.
Well, one of the things that we're talking about here is about 45 minutes an hour commute to a massive industrial hub like Belfast. The access to that large labour market is it's incredible.
Who on earth is going to pay for this bridge? If Boris wants to make an impact in this area, he needs to stop political austerity. There's so many things we need to do in this area to bring it up to speed.
This part of the Irish Sea is pretty unique. At the bottom lays tons of unwanted ammunition and more than 100 German U-boats that were sank at the end of the Second World War. The weather also makes the Irish Sea anything but calm, and it's deep, very deep, almost 175 metres in places.
It's probably one of the more challenging projects anywhere in the world because of the conditions and the exposure and the length and the depth of the water. If price was no object, then engineers could probably find solutions to it.
This isn't the first bridge that Mr Johnson has proposed building. During his time as London Mayor, more than £40 million of taxpayers' money was spent planning the so-called Garden Bridge, which would have linked Temple to Southwark. That was scrapped when Sadiq Khan took over and refused to sign additional financial guarantees. On the ground in Portpatrick, the plans received a rocky reception from some.
I think it's a load of rubbish. I think it's just Boris. Just making noise, but it'll never happen.
We're here on holiday and it's lovely, but I don't know about a huge bridge.
I think it's a really good idea. It'll bring in business and stuff. As long as it's stable enough for the lorries not to blow off it, yeah, it's fine.
If the PM pushes ahead with the plans, there will still be years of debate about the project. Critics say it's political showboating and is quite literally a bridge too far. Lewis Warner, ITV News, Portpatrick.